So at this point, I think you should realize that you are going to be running a business, whether you're running it from your home studio, whether you're renting a studio, whether you are just going to start off with one piece. It is a business. I really recommend you think about how you're going to sell before you even make the pieces and before you launch. If you can, just have the money saved up somewhere so you don't have to think about where you're going to get money when you need the money. But what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel this week. My name is Priscilla. I'm a Nigerian women's wear designer based in the UK. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys real numbers, real facts that you should keep in mind if you are looking to create your own women's wear collection of, I'll say, 5 to 6 looks, because that's a reference point that I use to get these numbers. So this will vary though, depending on the market level you want your collection to sit on, the type of models you work with, if you're making the pieces yourself or if you're getting them produced. There are a lot of variables that would affect the cost that you would arrive at the end of the day, and you wouldn't need this lump sum straightforward. You would need a particular amount at different points. So I divided this video into 4 segments so it's easy to digest and it makes a lot of sense in terms of how the cost breakdown happens. And I'm based in the UK, so you keep that in mind. If you're watching this video from the US, from Nigeria, from South Africa, you know you probably will convert it to your currency, and that would give you a better idea of how much it will cost. So get your notepad, get your pen, let's get into this juicy video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to be starting off with the concept phase. This is where you do like your research, you go on Google, you go on Pinterest, you check out trends, you check out other designers, and usually this will not cost you anything except if you have to pay for data or if you have to go to like an internet cafe. So the cost is variable at that point. Maybe you would want to also take a trip to the market to look at fabrics, check online store to look at fabrics. But if you wanted, you could possibly order fabric bundles, fabric swatches, that would just give you a nicer feel of what you might like. This could cost you nothing, or it could cost you about 10 to 15 pounds if you're just like getting small swatches here and there. But it's really up to you to decide what you do and how you prefer to work. So just before your pre-launch, I think this will be around the time that you start to create sketches, you start to do design development, which is when you have a concept or a detail that you want to play around with. Maybe it's the size of your collar, the type of pockets, buttons, maybe a print you want to like start developing. I would say designing really starts before pre-launch, because when you have an idea of how many looks you want to create, the sort of like silhouette you want to work with, that feeds into your research as well. So researching, scouting fabrics, and coming up with possible designs is sort of like the pre-phase that would happen before your pre-launch. And this whole concept phase would cost nothing, or it could cost roughly about £200 if you're someone that likes to buy stuff, touch stuff, feel stuff to get you inspired to create designs. Now you've decided that you are ready to create this collection. You've made your lineup of 5 to 6 looks. So this includes tops, bottoms, dresses, maybe accessories like scarves or scrunchies or a bag or earrings. Like, you have your full lineup of collection done. So at this point, I think you should realize that you are going to be running a business, whether you're running it from your home studio, whether you're renting a studio, whether you are just going to start off with one piece. It is a business, and I highly recommend you take it seriously from day one. Before you put your designs out there, I highly recommend you register your business. If you are in the UK, you can decide to be self-employed like I am, or you can decide to register your business name as a limited company, and this could cost you nothing from registering to be self-employed, or it could cost you about, I think it's about £24 to register as a limited company. I could be wrong, but that's sort of like the rough estimate I'm going to be working with for this video. So now that you have your business registered, your name trademark, your designs registered, your prints registered, and all that good stuff, I also recommend you write a business plan. Now this can be as simple as 5-6 pages, or you can go really complex and do a really detailed one. I'm going to link an example business plan in the video description. Now, a business plan could cost you nothing if you do it yourself, or if you get someone to write it for you. It could cost you anything from about 50 to 100 pounds. So it's really up to you who you work with, the quality of business plan you want, and how in-depth and detailed that business plan is going to be. Now, you would need to create your twirl, you need to create the patterns for your pieces, you need to make samples. And if you're someone who has the skills to do that, I recommend you do it yourself because that will save you cost. However, it's okay to outsource, and the cost really depends on the person that you work with. Now, if you work with someone who is really experienced and has a higher price bracket, you could end up spending 50 to 100 pounds on one sample. One. Let me emphasize that, one. So you would X that by your 5 or your 6 looks. In order to create your samples, you need your fabrics, and the quality and quantity of fabric varies. You have the freedom to do made to order, which is when you only produce a garment when the order comes through your store. Now, that fabric bundle that you get, I spent quite a lot of money on my fabrics because I had custom prints. I had some fabrics coming from Germany. I spent about 500 pounds, if I'm being honest. I think fabrics was what ate the most money. So if you're someone who wants to create like pieces that has your brand name on it, you need to create brand labels, you need to create care labels, and these usually come in packs of 50, 100, 150, 200, depending on how many you want to get. I've done a dedicated video where I unbox like the different like labels and swing tags and all those things that you need to get. Labels could cost you anything from 20 to 50 pounds depending on how many you want to get. I didn't get a lot starting out because I knew I didn't have that kind of traffic yet. I just got about 50 pieces of my brand labels, and I think I got roughly the same amount for my care labels. So now that you've made your garments, how are you going to package them? Are you going to work with eco-friendly boxes? Are you going to use poly mailers? Are you going to do custom branded boxes? I think it's not really important to go for the most expensive stuff first. However, I say you consider something that is more eco-friendly, because the small decisions that you make as a designer or as a creative really goes a long way to affect your consumers' attitude towards your brand and the effect that it will have on the planet. So before you launch your business, I highly recommend you think about how you're going to sell. Are you going to do pop-ups? Are you going to sell online? Are you going to do something called a digital concession, where you put your products on other people's websites, like what's Net-a-Porter by Teresa or Wolfa Badger, like, you know, websites like that where they just curate other designers and you're able to sell your pieces. I really recommend you think about how you're going to sell before you even make the pieces and before you launch, because if you don't know how you're going to sell, why are you even making the pieces to start with? Like, why? I, for one, I sell online and my website is hosted on Shopify. I pay about 34 pounds a month. That's because I have other paid apps that I run on my store because I sell digital patterns. But I say having an online store with either Shopify, Wix, Big Cartel, WooCommerce, there are a few different platforms that you could consider. Okay, now you need content to put on your online store and to go on your social media, so you will need to do a photo shoot, whether you're the one modeling your pieces or whether you're getting a model. So now a photo shoot could cost you anything from nothing if you decide to model the pieces yourself and if you already have a camera, and it could cost you to about, I'll say 500 to 1,000 pounds, and this will depend on the photographer that you work with, the model, the makeup artist, the stylist. All those other things could really come into play and hike that price a bit higher. But if you're someone who is able to reach out to other creatives to collaborate with them in the capacity that they get the pictures and the videos from the shoots to promote their own craft, I say consider that as well. Okay, now the next thing that I think you should think about is, will you be working from home like I am? I don't have to pay rent, but if you're going to be renting a studio space, you probably will have to pay rent from at least 500 pounds for a small unit where you can run and manage your business from. Or you could possibly convert like your spare room, your basement, like an abandoned corner in your house to become like your startup space, because at the beginning you'll be able to manage things from a smaller space until, you know, things really start to grow and pick up. Then you might want to consider getting like a space rented. Now, if you're going to be making the pieces yourself, you're definitely going to be needing machines, sewing machines, overlocking machines, pressing iron, ironing board. You would need thread, you would need scissors, you will need a table to cut on, you will need all these materials and tools to help you produce the pieces. And this could go from, I would say, 50 pounds to about 300 pounds. And if you're someone who already has a table in your house, you already have iron, you already have some thread, put all those things together and see how much that would reduce from your total cost, because every little helps when it comes to like starting off at first. So now we're on to your launch. You've made all your pieces, you've done all your photo shoot, you have all your content, you've priced your products, you have them on your online store. Even after you launch, there's still going to be some running costs and some hidden costs that you have to consider. Now, if you're going to be getting an online store, that is a subscription that you have to pay every month. If you're going to be getting an accountant, that is a subscription or a fee that you have to pay maybe every month or once every quarter or once every financial year. So in terms of subscription, you can be paying anything from 20 to 50 pounds a month, and this would cover like your online store fees, your accountancy fees. If you have any other like subscriptions that you have running in terms of like social media to do marketing, that also comes into play. Now, marketing is something that you will forever do, whether you are pre-launching, you're launching, post-launching, you always need to promote your products. So whether you're doing Facebook ads, Pinterest ads, don't take marketing for granted, because you need to be comfortable speaking about your work, especially if you're starting out. Don't be shy to toot your own horn. You worked really hard on that collection, and it's okay to tell people, you know what,
I made this shirt. It took me this long to make. This is how I made it. This is how it fits. This is the different ways to wear it. This is how much it costs. This is where you can buy it. Put a link wherever you can put a link. Don't harass people though, but don't be afraid, don't be shy to toot your own horn.
Now, marketing could go from zero in terms of like making videos, making Instagram posts, to about, I'll say about £100 a month. If you're going to be running Facebook ads on all those like ads, you need to put quite a bit of money to see any reasonable outcome. So now that you've launched your collection, you have it on your store, you have people placing orders. I say this part is where it could really get tempting to be discouraged, because you might not get orders straight away. However, I highly recommend that you continue to do your marketing, which costs you to about £100 a month. You consider doing PR, which is sending out free stuff to influencers, or paying them to promote your pieces on their social media accounts. You also need to do more photo shoots. So if you launched your collection, say in the spring, summer, and we're going into a colder season, you might want to do another photo shoot styling your pieces in a way that's appropriate for the colder season. So that's another photo shoot that you still have to pay for, and that photo shoot could cost you nothing if you're doing it yourself, or it could cost you to about £500 if you're going to be getting a studio, a model, and all those other things to create content that you could use to promote your products. Now, I would say on the lower end, your collection could cost you anything from £3,000, and on the higher end, it could cost you about £8,000 to £9,000. Now, that money is subject to a lot of variables and a lot of things that could change depending on if you have the skills to do a lot of these things, if you have people around you who could do them for a lot less, or if you collaborate with creatives who could possibly offer you a reduced fee or a reduced amount in exchange for doing these services for you. For mine, it cost me about £5,000 because I had a mixture of both. I made some of the pieces myself, and I worked with Yana, who helped me do some production. I worked with a really good photographer because I didn't want to compromise on the quality of my pictures for that first shoot. So that cost me a little bit more than I budgeted, but all in all, mine cost me about £5,000 because mine was like a happy medium of doing some things myself and working with other creatives who are really amazing at their jobs. If you can, just have the money saved up somewhere, so you don't have to think about where you're going to get money when you need the money. If you can have it saved up somewhere, if you can get a grant, if you can ask your parents for a loan, ask your partner for a loan, if you can work part-time and gradually start to put the money to the side, that is something that you could possibly do. But if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share to anyone who you think will find it useful. If you have any other useful tips, suggestions, or ideas, or anything you think that I missed or failed to mention in this video, let me know in the comment section as well. If there's any topic that I addressed that you guys feel I should make a dedicated video for, whether that is how to set up an online store or how to create content for your social media in terms of promoting your brand, things like that, or even something else that I mentioned, let me know in the comment section as well. And until my next video, have a good morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are. Bye.